Swale. Welcome to all those that are joining us today in this video. We kind of just wanted an interlude of some of the calming music for you. Just as we're taking time today, we're going to be addressing, we'll be addressing today grieving in a healthy fashion. Not only for ourselves, but supporting those that are experiencing loss. So today we're going to start off in a good way is with a prayer. Just so you're able to find that. And so we'll open up our session, our time together on this topic with a prayer. Chicho Siam, great-grandmothers, great-grandfathers, we give thanks for this day. We ask that you watch over all those today that may be carrying a heavy heart, that may be having some sorrow today, and are looking and searching in a good way for that support and love at this time of in their need for that love and light. They ask to allow the ones that need to reach out and support and gather together in a healthy way as we journey through the tasks of grief. Ask to be gentle with ourselves, to be kind in these moments as the waves of the loss come forward for us in a good way. All my relations. I want to thank everyone who's joining in with us today. I know today's topic for many of us is emotional, is intense, and we want to acknowledge that right from the get-go. So in that we are going to do some discussion around what is grief. How is that related to the work that we do? And in our communities, we know we get a lot of different ways that losses can occur. We have losses, of course, through the passing of a loved one, but we also have losses even in this time of COVID, the physical distancing that we have to go through, and having to stay that 6 feet apart from sometimes even loved ones during this time. It can also be losses of changing jobs, moving from one home into another. It may be transitioning in life, going from adulthood into elderhood, going from a child into an adult, right? So these various losses can bring up a lot of different emotions for us individually. And so as a result of that, we want to take time to acknowledge that and share some of the things that you can experience through grief, but also be able to have support and have some guidance around those pieces.
Good afternoon there. Name's Justin Campbell, part of the Creekle-Song Wellness Team. We all just seen Sue Ann touch on grief there as well. I'm just going to touch a little bit more about what is grief. So don't mind me by looking down on my little cheat sheets here. So what is grief? Grief is strong, sometimes overwhelming emotion of people, regardless of whether their sadness stems from the loss of a loved one or from a terminal diagnosis they or someone they loved have received. So the things that they might notice, that they might find themselves feeling numb and removed from the daily life, unable to carry on with regular duties. Well, and then also with sense of loss as well, of their own loss. So grief is a natural reaction to loss. Grief is both a universal and personal experience. Individuals' experience of grief vary and are influenced by the nature of the loss. So I'm going to give some examples of what I'm trying to say. So loss includes the death of a loved one, the ending of an important relationship, also job loss, loss through theft, or loss of independence through disability. Also moving from your childhood home as well, and then you're moving into a newer place, and there's going to be some grief there as well, and also with a pet. So if you do find yourself grieving, and just try to understand why and how we can move past the suffering, and then don't take grieving into a negative way. Learn through the grieving, and eventually it all comes out into a positive. Also, if you're uncertain about your grieving process, you can also just reach out to friends, family, also to reach out to a counselor, professional counselor, to try to help you through the process. Just speaking with someone as well. The other part I would like to talk about also is steps of grieving, how to deal. So we can acknowledge and accept the feelings. So the first step for me when I deal with my grief is I like to bring out the feelings. I'm sure that we all try to avoid. Also, suppress or repress these because they are uncomfortable. Not knowing these feelings will only make them feel more uncomfortable in the future if not processed at the right time. Also, if we do not deal with these negative emotions, like I was trying to say before, in a healthy way, we may have some more, trying to say, kind of lose myself here. So if we don't deal with the emotional feelings, they would turn into a negative. So things will feel like you'll feel more angry, sadness, confusion, being overwhelmed, loneliness, frustration, resentment, shock, disbelief, guilt, and regret, emptiness, confusion, fear, and many other negative emotions may come to work their way through you and where you are facing the loss. You want to find a safe place to face the losses and the negatives. Maybe so you can find a trustworthy friend. Speak with a loved one, your parents, siblings as well. Also, even an elder would be a great one also to speak about with this. And if you don't have those supports around you as well, you can also reach out into different support groups as well. Also, another good one is praying, meditation, and then trying to try to find different tools to deal with your emotions as well. The second part would be start taking steps to fill the void within. So when you lose something of value to you, there is usually an empty spot within you that craves your attention. So the closer you connect and the more intense the loss, the more profound the emptiness may feel. When ready and within a reasonable time frame that you set for yourself, you have to find ways to fill up this gap in something positive that makes you feel good. Whether it is another relationship or an activity that helps you, gives your life a new meaning. That's what I was trying to say. Also try getting into a new relationship, doing volunteer work also. Going on daily activity walks or hikes along the river, sit-ins, going out in nature, maybe connecting with the land also by hunting, fishing, bird watching or whatever else. And then also just doing fun recreational activities as well, working out. Swimming is a big one too. I think that's about it for the positives that you can look at. And then the third one I can touch a little bit on as well is learning to grow from the loss. So every loss has a message. Whether the message is for you to be more loving and accepting, to learn to be more resilient, to learn to adjust what you cannot change, or to change something you can. If you can step over the emotions step over the emotions and receive the message clearly, you can grow out of it with a little more awareness of what's happening around you. Almost anyone that I talk to a little bit to who has come to this place of acceptance with the experience of loss can look back and find element of growth in it. There is an old saying that says, help me change the things I can change, adjust the things I cannot change, and give me the wisdom to know the difference. So for me right now, I'm still dealing with a little bit of grief. I'm going to touch on like a little bit of my personal stuff. With grief is we bought a house going 2.5 weeks ago now, and day 2 in our place we had to put our dog down, our family dog. So there's like a lot of emotions, and she wasn't healthy. There's so many different reasons, and for me that was the toughest time and the hardest thing I had to do. To sit there and watch my wife and my 2 kids going through their emotions and just seeing the tears come down. And for me, I did not have processed the grief there, and then taking her to the vet and then put her down that way. She was relaxed, and she went down comfortably, but it was still very hard. But now we do have her home with Ashes, and that having her back spiritually is really nice because it fills a gap in our hearts. And also yesterday I was down at the river with my family, and just thinking back of all the good times that I had with my dog and that down there too. So, and it's like it's all the positives coming from the negatives right now, and it's starting to change things, and it's starting to fill that void that I was trying to talk about a little bit here too. And thank you for your time.
Hey, I'm Kasia Benarchuk, and I'm going to be talking on how to help be there for someone who is grieving a loss. And first off, I'm going to be showing a video by Megan Devine that really highlights how to hold space for someone. So from that video, we've learned to just try and hold space and accept where our friends or family are at with their grief. Not try and fix or change anything or try to make them look on the positive side right away about things. They're sad, right? And so how do we actually go about being there for them? I've compiled about 8 tips to help you be there for your loved one. So then the first one is be there. Don't sweep things under the rug or be distant, right? They've already now have a permanent distance from their loved one, or permanent distance from what they thought was normal, right? So for like some thoughts, maybe you're scared, you don't want to bring it up. It is already up for that person. This is the thing they're going through. Or maybe you're nervous that you might make it worse. You can't. It's already the worst possible thing if someone's lost someone, right? Or maybe you think it's awkward if you say, "I'm here for you," but you're worried about that they may or may not take you up on that, right? And that may cause you to hesitate, but it doesn't matter. You are saying that you are there, either way. So step number 2, it's not about you, right? And it's not about your awkwardness that you may be feeling. It's about them, your loved one, holding space for them. So if you really need to, and you hear about the news, say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't even imagine what that's going through." You're acknowledging them, and acknowledge that you may be awkward. Like, I don't even know what to say right now. So when you say that, you're being vulnerable and you're opening up the fact that you don't know what to say, and it allows to open the air for them as well to open up. And step 3, grieving people want relief. That's the most important thing that they want. So I'll further highlight some things that you can do for them. Again, it's not your job to like fix or change how they're feeling in the moment. It's to give them some relief. Number 4, give them choices. Lots of their choices have been taken away. So for example, the person may not be ready to socialize, but they still might want to be invited. So you're giving them that choice. Then phone them up and be like, "Hey, I'm having a get together," or like, "Let's hang out. I miss your presence," right? But give the option, like, if you're not feeling up to it, it's fine. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to spend some time together. And number 5, do send those texts. This must be so difficult. I can't imagine. I'm sending thoughts and prayers right now. And then state as well that there is no need to respond. So you're letting them off that hook, and you're giving them that relief because they're probably overwhelmed with other family members sending texts and just everything in their life right now. So hugs. Number 6, hugs. The best way to show that you care without saying something is a hug. But please be COVID safe, so make sure that they're part of your bubble. And if not, there are other ways to provide comfort, so blankets or bubble baths. Number 7, anticipation. So the person has no energy to tell you what they need. Like, for example, to the phrase, "I'm here if you need it." They don't have the energy to tell you what you need, so you need to anticipate. So buy coffee, ask if they need a walk, just show up to their house and just do it. Like, "Hey, I have some extra time." Do a chore, an errand, maybe take the kids out for a walk if they have it, for ice cream or something, or take the dogs out for a walk, mow the lawn, right? They'll be very appreciative of that. And number 8, make them food. Like, make up a baked mac and cheese casserole or some bannock and soup. People need to eat. maybe offer a note and they can freeze for later. No matter what, no one's ever said, oh hey, this person made me a casserole, how inconsiderate of them. No, food is important, and it provides connection.
So even though we know that through grieving there are tasks to support us to get through those losses, for many of us it is challenging to accomplish that. And in some cases, many of us, and including myself, find ourselves sometimes doing things that may not be supportive to our grieving. Things like having that phrase of, I don't need to cry. I can do this on my own. I don't need anyone. I'll be all right. I'll just get over it. Turning to things like other substances, alcohol, drugs, maybe even food, to numb ourselves. Turning to unhealthy behaviors, maybe an increase in gambling, unhealthy relationships, sexual promiscuity, angry outbursts in times that don't match to that angry outburst. Sometimes even violence. And the other piece that we will start to tend to do when we're not addressing the grief in a healthy way is a lot of us will start to isolate. We will start to distance ourselves to the support that may be there. And so be mindful of that as you're going through whatever loss that you're addressing, to ask yourself, are some of the things that you're doing, are they helping the grief, supporting you through the grief? Or maybe are they a way of avoiding or numbing out the grief? And then if that is the case, see what is it that you need. Are you able to reach out and voice that to others in a good way? Because ideally for our grieving is to take time to do those tasks in your own time and space. And sometimes you will say, I need a break from the grieving. I need a break from talking about the loss. And feel free to do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that and keeping yourself busy with healthy activities. But be aware, everything in life is about balance, and then that includes our grieving as well. Take things that comfort you, that bring you joy as well, and then place them into your daily activities so that then the obstacles to grieving become lesser of an occurrence for us.